In 2005, I was sent by the BBC to make a film about the wildlife of the Hawaiian Islands. As beautiful as it was, I also became aware of a darker side to the ocean. Everywhere I pointed my camera, there was plastic debris. Washed up from all over the Pacific Ocean, the plastic waste of our modern life was wreaking havoc on the island's wildlife. Back home, I discovered the situation was no better for the British Isles, as Dr. Sue Kinsey of the Marine Conservation Society explains.
There's rubbish on every beach, and we get as much here probably as in Hawaii, but obviously it's spread around our whole coastline. On some beaches you get enormous amounts of litter, very similar to the kind of rubbish you saw in Hawaii.
What's the Marine Conservation Society doing about this?
Well, every year we run a beach watch programme, and that's not just getting people to go out and clean the beaches, we're also asking them to survey the beaches so we can actually see how much of each type of rubbish is washing up on our shores every year. And from this data we can tackle litter at source. So obviously if we've got the data to back up what we think we're seeing, then we can actually go to the manufacturers, to the people who are making this rubbish and say, try and do something about it.
Is this pretty average for what you're going to find on a British beach?
Yeah, this is pretty average. As you can see, nearly everything here is made of plastic, and every year over 50% of everything we find is plastic. This year was nearly 60% in fact.
Another beach, another expert, but the same old problem. Dr. Richard Thompson from Plymouth University is one of the world's leading authorities on plastic pollution.
Plastic is a tremendous problem in the marine environment. It's difficult to find a shoreline now worldwide where we don't encounter plastic debris more or less every few metres. I found it very hard on my travels to find a place that doesn't have plastic litter. In some locations the quantities are absolutely colossal. Areas of shoreline in New Zealand have got reports of over 10,000 items of plastic debris per metre squared. We've got it on the deep sea bed as well, and in the oceans. And one of the things we've been doing is following the breakdown of those big bits of plastic. We've found fragments of plastic smaller than the diameter of a human hair now that have accumulated over the last 40 years in the water column and on shorelines. If I pick up a handful of sand from this beach here, there's a strong likelihood that we'll find small, microscopic in fact, fragments of plastic there too.
If you have got plastic pretty much embedded in the water column, you've got it embedded in the sand, what is that doing to wildlife?
There's a wide range of problems that are incredibly well documented. Over 260 species of marine organism are known to be affected by this debris. If they eat it, then it can cause problems for their digestive system, it can block the guts, it can cause suffocation. Also, a wide number of organisms are known to become entangled in plastic fragments, causing strangulation or constricting their circulation, or restricting their growth, ultimately resulting in starvation, loss of reproductive output, and even death for a wide number of organisms.
I personally witnessed the albatrosses dying from the plastic out in Hawaii, but the seabirds in this country, is it as bad here?
There's a substantial problem with seabirds around UK waters. A recent study by Dutch scientist Dr. Jan van Veraneke showed that over 95% of fulmars, these are a seabird that we find commonly in UK waters, have plastic in their guts, and in some cases substantial quantities of plastic.
The more you look, the more you realise plastic of all kinds is damaging our environment. But there is one particular item that so far has stolen most of the publicity.
Plastic bag, obviously, again, it's a very big problem, especially for animals like turtles. To a turtle, you can imagine swimming along in the sea, a plastic bag bobbing around in the sea looks exactly like a jellyfish. And jellyfish is a turtle's natural prey. They just kind of gulp it down. Once the turtle's eaten it, it has sort of spikes on its throat, so it can't actually regurgitate that plastic bag anymore. So quite often it sticks in their esophagus and they'll either choke to death. If it gets into their stomach, then quite often it will cause a blockage, and because it's the plastic in their stomach, the turtle feels like it's full, so it won't eat. So almost ironically, it starves to death, although its stomach's actually full of plastic.
Doing beach watch, are plastic bags a large amount of what you're finding?
They make up about 2% of the total litter that we're finding, but they do seem to have a kind of an impact disproportionate to the numbers we're finding on beaches. Saying that 2% last year was over 7,000 bags, and that's only on one weekend in the year that we found those 7,000 bags. So you can imagine that times the number of weekends or number of days in a year is going to be an awful lot of plastic bags ending up on our beaches.
Is it something we should all be concerned about now?
I think it's something we should be incredibly concerned about. There are literally tons and tons of this stuff floating around in the ocean, and if we don't do something soon, we're going to be basically swamped in our own rubbish.
It's important to realise that plastic bags are only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the plastic pollution problem. And this isn't a problem that's in the process of fixing itself. Is the amount of plastic you're finding increasing?
There's quite a lot of evidence to show that it is. If we look at data for rates of accumulation, we can see trends from some of my work from the University of Plymouth. We've shown, for example, that in waters in the northeast Atlantic, we've seen a significant increase in the abundance of fragments of debris off of waters around Scotland and around Iceland over the last 40 years, a significant increase. There are other data that show significant increases in other parts of the world. We certainly know that the amount of plastic that's being produced has increased exponentially over the last 50 years. In the 1950s, we were producing about 5 million tonnes of plastic items each year. We're now up to over 234 million tonnes a year. That's based on the industry's figures. A wide range of those 200 odd million tonnes are used for very important items. Sterile products for hospitals, casings for computers and telephones that have made a wide range of high-tech equipment available to schools and offices worldwide. But ironically, that's not the main use of plastic that we have. The main items of plastic are that over 40% of all the plastic we produce are for one-trip items of packaging, most of which are discarded within a year. And that's something where we could all take action to help to try to reduce that.
In my hometown of Marbury, we all got together and made a stand, led in a large part by the town's shopkeepers and traders. Simon here has been brilliant.
Hi.
Hello. So beforehand, big use of plastic bags in this shop.
Yeah, massive. Now we use greaseproof paper, just like the old days.
You never hear the word, "Can I have a plastic bag?" In fact, we don't allow it to be said in the shop.
We then put our meat into a biodegradable bag.
Yep.
Something like a banana, it's already got its own skin, doesn't need a bag.
Do you notice a lot of local residents with the Marbury bag?
I should think practically everybody in Marbury has got several.
If people bring us plastic bags, we say no thank you.
We've just been sort of brainwashed over the years into the convenience of not having to bring something with us.
Definitely the attitude has changed. I mean, people, as their awareness has changed totally.
The campaign with the bags hit a chord and everyone's been behind us. I haven't had one person really that's been negative about it at all.
So many people now come into the shop and they have got their own shopping bag.
Even if you forget it, there's an environmentally friendly solution at hand.
We offer people the option to buy a biodegradable carrier bag. It's enough to make people think, do I need a bag? As a result, we've seen a 90% reduction in the amount of carrier bags that we actually hand out.
Everyone's going to follow it. It's got to. There's no two ways about it.
How easy has it been for you as a shopkeeper to make this transition?
Simple.
And we did it in 6 weeks. Other towns might want to take a little bit longer.
Getting rid of plastic bags in Marbury was an easy thing to do, but was it a worthwhile venture?
In my opinion, until we've got more responsible use of packaging by industry, then I think it's absolutely right and proper for consumers to vote with their feet and not to use it. It says it here on the bag, it says reduce, reuse, recycle. What the public have shown is that they're reducing their use of one-trip items of packaging. And a plastic bag is an item of one-trip packaging that we could simply do without.
One thing that worries me is people thinking stopping using plastic bags is going to sort it all out.
It's not, but it's a very good place to start, and it gives a very clear message for how keen the public are to take some action about this problem. On its own, it's not going to solve the problem, but it's a step in the right direction.
This website tells you how we went about our campaign in Marbury. But for the bigger picture, I'll leave the last words to Dr. Sue from the Marine Conservation Society.
If you want to find out more about the Marine Conservation Society or join in Adopt a Beach and Beach Watch and help save our seas, then please log on to www.adoptabeach.org.uk.